I want to move on to a few game announcements. First one, Zelda, which we saw, and when we were just flipping out in the media room, and the guys when or not Sakurai, my God, when Onuma was talking about the game, and he says, "You see those mountains? You can go there," and all of us just like, whoa. And I mean, it may seem very reminiscent of Skyrim, but I don't really care because the game looks awesome. So I don't know. What about you guys? New Zelda.
To me, New Zelda didn't do much. I mean, yeah, it was cool to see the shot, but my expectations were that they were going to show something. We didn't get much. Seeing Link being chased by a monster and taking him down with a crossbow, it was awesome. But I think that they've like showcased so many other cool games, ideas, and there were so many more surprises that for me, Zelda was like, it's cool, but wow, look at all this other cool stuff.
I'm gonna have to come in and once again agree with Jason here. I think Zelda's reveal was the most underwhelming thing that Nintendo had. It was like, first of all, why is it that companies do this and throw me off with their tech demos? The 2011 Zelda tech demo was beautiful. Why in the hell is this Zelda game not that and looking once again like Skyward Sword? Which I hate that. Not hate it, but it's just not my favorite game. And it just reminds me of that game like, wow, this is really disappointing. I wanted to see Link in HD, awesome, amazing, realistic graphics, killing, destroying stuff in an awesome temple, dungeon, whatever. And I get, you can go off into the mountains as cartoony Link.
Like, I mean, the other thing we got from
whatever.
This little announcement. So two things. First of all, I'm fine with the art style. I think it looks pretty gorgeous. But aside from that, the more important thing I think that we got from this little trailer that we saw is that Link is just like traveling across, I don't know, Hyrule Field or something, and he sees this giant ass monster out of nowhere. And like whenever in Zelda, just you walking along your way, does a giant monster pop out of nowhere? And that's what I think Anuma is trying to show off, is that like this is a truly open world. You don't know what's going to happen, and at any point, like you're never safe. And at any point, there's either could be some puzzle to screw you over, or there could be a giant monster popping out at you. Like it really will feel like an immersive world. I think
I feel like it's gonna end up being giant monsters pop out of you everywhere. Like is that really immersive? Like I don't know. Like I feel like one of my least favorite things about like Ocarina of Time, for example, is going across Hyrule Field. And one of the reasons why I love Majora's Mask is that there's no Hyrule Field at all. Like they're just doing awesome things in the Zelda universe, and I feel like that's what this is kind of like. It reminds me of that, where I'm like, oh great, Hyrule Field is really big. Like that's not at all what I want from a Zelda game. Like I want to get into the dungeons. I want to get into the puzzles and stuff. I kind of actually don't want to be walking around Hyrule Field and a giant monster comes out of nowhere. Like that's not at all Zelda. Like that doesn't remind me of Zelda whatsoever.
But I don't even think the what they showed would even suggest that. Like they showed so little. I feel like you could.
Yeah, that too.
You could hope that like you can take anything out of that. You can create your own game like just from the little that they showed. So I'm just not excited.
Yeah, that's the disappointing thing too. They had such a great opportunity to like, really capture us with the new Zelda game, and then they just had this like really weak like showing with just a ton of bloom. What is it with Wii U games, by the way? Where like we're in HD now, and every game has to have like Halo Reach levels of bloom. It's
that's crazy. Ridiculous.
Like I'm seeing the game like cartoony graphics and like Forza 4 bloom. Like why? Like you can't have one and the other like at the same time.
The two things I want to say is, first of all, I don't think they put such large emphasis on Zelda U because of Hyrule Warriors, and they didn't really want to overshadow that. That's my first thing. The second thing I also want to point out is, Dakota, you're talking about how you want to see the dungeons, you want to see the breadth of Zelda, and I think this is where our Zelda kind of like we differ in how we want Zelda to function. But I think in having this open world, the world is a puzzle. I think that there won't be so much of us, and obviously Jason pointed out we only saw a small little bit, so I'm just building my assumptions off of very little. But I think that the way it might function is, as opposed to having such large dungeons, the whole world is going to be puzzles and dungeon, like in a design of a dungeon.
I mean that's a really lofty goal, Herb, but I mean it's I don't know, like Skyrim got boring for me because I'm just walking everywhere, like gonna take forever to get here, or whatever. Like I don't know, like open world is cool to a point, but that's not what I like. Zelda and open world, I don't think are necessary things. And when that got announced, I was like, I was kind of hoping for more of that tech demo from 2011, and instead I got a sequel to Skyward Sword. Like, that's not at all what I was kind of looking for. Like, yeah, I guess we're looking for different things in Zelda, but all right, they're probably not going to get a purchase out of me again. I bought Wind Waker HD because that game is great and it's the same. So like whatever, but like I didn't buy Skyward Sword, boring, and I'm not buying Skyward Sword 2. So they're missing me again as a customer. So they kind of failed me there.
See, for me to be surprised this year with Zelda U, I would have expected something completely new. Just like take the whole concept of Zelda the Triforce and put in a whole new setting, like something steampunk, futuristic. It sounds extreme, but like you look at the Final Fantasy franchise, the first 6 games, it's all like medieval fantasy. 7 comes out, it's a whole new setting. It's like one of the best Final Fantasy games. I think that kind of concept would work fantastic for Zelda.
The one thing we should probably start moving on, but I'm sorry, Dakota. Do you have something to say before we move on? No.
Yeah, I just wanted to say real quick that I don't. While I think that would be awesome, Jason, I feel like I don't want to lose Zelda. Like what Zelda is like it just. I feel like it needs that like that grandiose epic music, like the choir music, and it needs that like kind of that realistic like not grit like Gears of War style, but I don't know, like they just captured the tech demo so well that I feel like they threw away such a great opportunity to portray Zelda how it like really should be portrayed, and instead we got like Skyward Sword.
The tech demo was cartoony too. There was all that bloom. Link looked. I mean, he always looks feminine, but I felt he looked worse in the tech demo. The whole room looked cool, but Link himself, I prefer him in the new.
I don't know, dude. I kind of disagree. I think everything in that tech demo was kind of perfect, and that's why I was so hyped for Zelda U to come out, because I was like, wow, that's like if that's what the Wii U has in store, then that's what I want. And I waited 3 years, and I got this.
Yeah, and I mean, we obviously don't really know very much about the game, and it could really change a lot in the future announcements regarding the game. But we should probably start moving on to the other really kind of surprise announcement that Nintendo had, which is Project S.T.E.A.M, Strike Team, eliminating the Alien Menace, which we heard about this earlier through the trademarks that Nintendo filed. But personally, I thought it would be a third-person tactical or third-person like group squad like shooting game, which is what I thought it would be, but it wasn't. It's actually a tactical steampunk sent out. So I don't know. What do you guys think about this new IP?
I heard that it wasn't Metroid for 3DS, and I didn't really pay attention to it.
Yeah, I just heard steampunk. I didn't hear much news about it, so again, I'm not too excited for it. Probably as more news comes out.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm kind of looking forward to. A lot of people said it looks very similar to XCOM, which is fine because XCOM is pretty good. I'm looking forward to this sort of tactical turn-based strategy game, and it's made by Intelligent Systems, which has a really good track record. So I'm really looking forward to it. And the fact that we don't really have any first-person titles coming from Nintendo in 2015 for the 3DS definitely makes me kind of look forward to this game. Jason, you also wanted to talk about these two Miyamoto IPs, which are probably going to be a part of Star Fox from what we're hearing. Did you guys get to play either of the two projects?
I did get to play Project Guard, and I observed other people playing a project. I think it's called Giant Robot. Didn't get my hands on it.
Yeah, I played Robot, so I can talk about that. But why don't you talk about Project Guard?
Okay, well, I mean, I can talk about my. Anyway, Project Giant Robot. When I looked at it, I thought I was embarrassed. I thought it looked terrible. The people, like everyone who grabbed the controller, it didn't look intuitive. It just looked like a robot derping on screen and kind of like twisting in weird ways and falling over on himself. It looked like a terrible, boring game. I understand it's a proof, like it's a concept. It's not fleshed out. But on the other hand, Project Guard, which I did get to play, it looks so simple. You got like 12 cameras. You got to select your camera, protect your base from these robots that are coming in and shoot them down. It looks simple. You need help from your friends to like keep an eye on all the cameras. When I actually got in the seat, it's so fast paced. There's so much to look at. It's actually fun. I really enjoy it. Having like people like help you out, like, oh, go to camera 9, quick 6-5. It just gets hectic quick, but it's fun. You get some shooting in there. As a whole game, of course, it doesn't work, but I would really love to see this idea, this game integrated into a larger scale game. I really enjoyed Project Guard.
Yeah, Miyamoto kind of suggested that this wouldn't be a full title. I think he's just trying things to put into Star Fox, which is what it sounds like. I played Project Giant Robot, and as you said, it looks pretty crappy. It kind of is. The visuals are just kind of awful. It looks like a very early prototype build. I told the Nintendo rep there that they should not have brought these two things to E3. I said they have too strong of a lineup to have these two. These, I mean, I didn't play Project Arts, I don't know, but they're so early in development, both of these projects, that they don't really feel like experiences that you should be showing off to the public. So that's what I told the Nintendo rep. And for Project Robot, the way it works is that you first build your robot using several different parts, which is okay enough. The problem is, like, for example, I'm going to make a giant ass robot. Giant robots are great. They're going to be strong. And I made a giant robot. The problem was it was like 3 times bigger than the robot I was fighting against. And one punch of the robot to like my kneecap, and it knocked me out completely. So it kind of wrecked me, and I feel like there needs to be a little more balance. And the other thing is, in order to play the game, in order to punch your arm, you not only need to press the bumper, so LR or B or the right button or the left button. You also need to you need to physically move your body like in a swinging direction in a slow manner, which is so weird. And feels kind of weird because I'm pressing a button and moving at the same time. And I mean, I don't know. Project Guard may have been better. I never played it. So Jason, that might look optimistic. And I mean, Project Giant Robot might work better in like as a little game in Star Fox. So I don't know. We'll see how this develops. I'm kind of interested, but I'm kind of like, wow, Nintendo, you probably shouldn't have brought this to E3. You had a strong.
I disagree. I disagree with that. I think the purpose of that, they brought different things to E3 to address different things, and I think these two projects, there was only one demo station for each game. It's really to kind of help them justify the gamepad, because a lot of people are saying, what is the point of a gamepad? What does it do? I feel like these two games were kind of features of like, this is what you can do with the gamepad.
Yeah, well, I feel like that time is kind of like past. They should have already done that. Now it's like you don't need to take up, especially since there was only one for demo for each game. Not even in the media booth. We had to wait in line too, to play the game. And I don't know. But Dakota, you wanted to talk about a game. What do you have?
Well, I just one thing I wanted to say that I think Nintendo succeeded probably the most at least compared to anyone, at least to the big three, was cooperative play. And I think two shining examples, other than like Smash Brothers and doubles or Splatoon that's 4v4, great examples of how Nintendo captured great cooperative play, were Yoshi's Woolly World and Mario Maker. So Yoshi's Woolly World, the weirdest name, and I'm kind of hyped for it because like Woolly World's a kind of funny name, but it's really fun. Like I've never felt like that Yoshi needed co-op, but this is like the first Yoshi game that really does co-op really well and like very definitively, and it's really awesome. And I'm like, wow, how could you never have like a Yoshi game without co-op? It was a ton of fun, and I felt like it played like so well, and I'm really excited to play the game. I hope it has online co-op because that would be insta buy for me. But then there's Mario Maker, which has. Does it have? Oh yeah.
Chat.
If it has voice chat, that would be cool too. Yeah.
And the other thing, before we move on to Mario Maker, is that for me, I felt like Yoshi's Woolly World was the best game I played on Nintendo's side.
Really.
Jason
Best
really enjoyed it as well. I played with him. I thought it was so good. Like it wasn't super easy like Kirby.
Honestly, I mean, I would say it's definitely top 3 right after Splatoon and Smash for me, or Smash and Splatoon. Definitely, I would put Woolly World right there.
It's so fun. You don't even. I mean, multiplayer is really fun. We're swallowing each other and using each other as eggs, which that whole sentence is kind of screwed up. But we also like even single player. The game is super fun. It's not it's not too easy, and it's great. But what about Mario Maker? I never played that game.
Oh, Mario Maker was great because it has like a different kind of cooperative play where you could either work together with friends to create a Mario level, or you can say, all right, I'm gonna screw my friend over here by creating the hardest Mario level of all time and see if he can beat it. And I had a lot of fun creating these really hard levels for people to beat, and that was something that I can definitely see myself going back to time and time again. And that's the thing. I think Nintendo really has hit the replay value on all of these games: Smash, Splatoon, Yoshi's, and every other game we've really mentioned, Mario Maker, even Kirby, and all that kind of stuff. So honestly, I think Nintendo. We're Nintendo enthusiasts, but I think Nintendo definitely won this year.
On multiplayer play, when I was watching the other conferences before Nintendo, I was cringing because there were so many people coming out with games that had asynchronous play. I was like, this is exactly what Nintendo has been trying to do the last 3 years. Why haven't they been able to do it? And I forget the titles, but you had a game showed, I think, by EA where you play as a monster, and then or you can play as like the monster hunters. There was a bunch of games like that.
Evolve.
Evolve, right? But so when I actually saw Nintendo reveal Mario Party, which one player can play as Bowser and then the other four play as the regular character, I'm like, oh, thank God, they're getting it. So yeah, I really enjoyed seeing all the different co-op plays coming into play.
Yeah, and for Evolve specifically, I think that it's been in development for quite a while, so I wouldn't say that they were copying Nintendo, but I mean it's interesting that all other segments of the industry are starting to pick up this asynchronous. Fable Legends is the other one, where it's like 1 versus 4. But overall, I mean, I thought Nintendo's lineup was really strong. I'm usually very skeptical about Nintendo. Like a lot of people really don't like the fact that I'm constantly on Nintendo's ass and criticizing them. But I thought that this year they had a really, really good show. I thought it was the best out of the three, and that's pretty much where we're going to end off the show. Make sure to check out NintendoEnthusiast.com for previews for tons of games. Check continuously back to the YouTube channel, and we'll see you guys next time for another Nintendo Enthusiast Radio.